And these sessions and almost all the streams this week is about programming fundamentals. The idea and the concept that I'm trying to convey to you all is programming has become a central activity of the modern society. And depending on your interest and ability, you can participate in this activity, being either a developer or as somebody as a coder or a part of a consumer or a user kind of a thing. So that is exactly what I've been doing. And starting from Monday, I have actually emphasized the importance of computing, and thereafter the programming, and how certain questions like, can anybody learn programming? The answer is definitely yes. Okay, and whether programming is suitable for everybody, and that is a very subjective question, and a subjective answer need to be developed for that. And thereafter, actually, I'll be talking about other aspects which are pertinent to this one. But in case you have any specific questions, you can certainly shoot those questions over here in the chat. I'll try to answer them. And probably from next week, I'll start some programming sessions in each different languages. I will start with coding and then we'll move on to programming. Okay, Vipul, hello, good evening. So any specific questions regarding programming fundamentals? I'm very happy to answer you. I have about a minute before I get into the session. In case you have, you can certainly ask me, and then we will move on. Shekhar, good evening. Vipul, Smriti. So everybody, Naina, good evening. Yeah, it's almost time. I will just move into my sessions right now, and I will try to keep watching on your chat box. If you have any specific question, you can ask, and answer. I will try to answer you up here. Okay, Kiran. Okay. So let me get into my presentation mode. Yeah, good evening, everybody, and welcome to my stream on programming fundamentals. Okay, this week I've been talking about the programming fundamentals. By programming fundamentals, I mean the programming phenomenon that is happening across the world today, because much of our activities are happening in and around computers, whether it's a mobile device that you are using or a desktop or a laptop, or even your interaction with other institutions would happen through a computer. For example, you are all attending my sessions, probably you are using your laptop or your mobile phone, and I'm delivering the sessions using my desktop. So that means computer seems to be sweeping everywhere, wherever we go. But all these computers are powered by a process called programming or coding. So the idea is like checking what is this programming is all about and what does it mean to me. For example, if you are for example, senior citizen, then there are many applications which are meant for senior citizens. All of them are actually powered by like programming. Similarly, if you are a young student and just graduating out, then actually programming probably is an area where you can consider for your career as a developer or programmer and a developer or actually an application designer. But then even if you are not interested very keenly in the development, the basic understanding of programming is essential for everybody, because as a part of your profession, you might be using. For example, if you are a chartered accountant, then also there is an application called Tally, which you have to use as a part of that. Or if you are actually an architect, then there are applications like CAD CAM which will be using. So that means the interface with computers and then all the programming is something which is there for everybody, each one of us. So the basic understanding of that is needed. So that's exactly what I've been trying this week. So what I did in the my Monday session is actually why computer programming is important. Answer is very simple. Without computers, you cannot run a single day, whether booking a ticket or actually going to an ATM and withdrawing money. That's the reason why it's very important. So it's on, and because of that, actually, computer programming and applications are taking a wide speed. I told you, ATM is a banking. Banking is a computer application. Your ticket booking on Indian Railways is an application, and even the creator platform that we are actually currently using to deliver this session is powered by computers. Okay. And then once these general two questions are asked, then I asked a question like, can anyone learn coding? Because if programming is what's the power behind, is it possible that each one of us can become programmers? The answer is yes. Okay, for a couple of reasons. Okay, programming, like any other skill like driving, singing, or actually swimming, is actually something which you can develop. Okay, 99% of the population can develop coding skills the way they can learn to sing or they learn to swim or driving. about 20-25 years back, no, driving was not an essential skill because most of us, most of the families did not have a vehicle like car and all. Today, every family is having a car, and because of that, driving has become an essential skill. Something similar actually happens because computers are actually everywhere and we need to know coding. That doesn't mean that actually you have to become a deep developer. For example, when you learn driving, it doesn't mean that you have to become a Formula One racer and all. But there is something in between. That means not knowing driving to becoming a Formula race driver one. Okay. Similarly, in coding, you can, if you are interested, if you have an inclination, then you can become a developer. There are many resources available, including free courses and all. So the question like, can anyone learn coding? The answer is yes. But then there are different aspects that you need. But much of the qualities are the essential things that you need, like aptitude, logical thinking, and all. It is almost built in each one of us. Then I asked the question, is coding is right for me? What it actually means is, see, yes, driving is good, but some people don't enjoy driving. They don't want driving at all because for some reasons of their own. Similarly, swimming is good for health, but some people are allergic to water and all. So although 99% of the population can directly learn coding and start using, but for some people it is not needed. I mean, it's not okay. So you can leave them. And in this question, actually, I try to answer that question like, what are the factors that you should be looking at to decide whether coding is good for you or not? Okay. Then finally, when I have answered all these four questions, then actually we try to ask the question like, is computer is the right career? For example, whether after learning the coding, will I be a successful computer programmer and I can build a career on that? This also answer is partially yes, because if you look at the way people are entering the computer field, every year millions of people are using and starting computers, and they also learning to code. Even housewives are learning, even senior citizens are learning coding, even accountants are learning. In fact, even doctors and dentists are also learning coding. So computer programming career can be considered as a whole career or as a career which supports others. Thereafter, I try to answer the question like, what jobs can I get in computer programming? So there are 8 or 10 main categories, starting from software engineer to a developer, web developer, and application developer, security system, cloud engineer, and so forth. Okay. So are there any specific questions regarding this? Purav, actually, I'm just giving an introduction to Python. It's the reason why it is popular in different applications. Actual coding part, maybe I will start on Monday. Yeah. Okay. 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 I did. Okay. Let me see the questions here. Yeah, Srinathar, yes, it is there. See, it is like, see, the thing is actually, see, when historically, I will tell you, see, when before 14th century, reading and writing was not an essential skill, okay, because most of the people were not able to read and write because there were no books at all. But when the printing press came into existence, then when more and more people started printing books, more and people also writing books. So then the whole university education came into that. So before 14th century, reading and writing is not a big problem. I mean, it was not an essential thing. But after that, if you want to be a literate, you must be knowing reading and writing. And at basic level also, for example, if you go to a shop and if there is an item list there, how will you come to know? Either you have to ask the supplier or actually you have to read yourself. So if you are not able to read yourself, then you become a handicap. Something similar actually happens in programming. So because more and more interfaces are becoming computer, the basic understanding of computers, either as a programmer or a developer or a user, is very essential. Okay. Then the question is actually, is it possible for non-tech people to become programmer? The answer is definitely yes, because programming has been made so simple today. It is possible for anybody to understand. In fact, there is a momentum called actually no code and zero code applications. What it actually means is, because of the things like metaverse and all, we cannot expect everybody to be a coder. So now we have developed some system where actually you can actually drag and drop. That means if you want to cycle to be moved in your program, you can choose a picture of a cycle, then you can select the movement from another bar. Okay, bar actually on the screen, and then actually give that momentum. So you don't have to be knowing actually hard coding like a C language or Python and all. There are codes, I mean, available systems available which you can actually pull and drag and drop. Okay, so that's your question. Okay. And your question, Purav, sir, will you teach Python syntax today? No, I'm starting it next week. Today, I'm just telling you why Python is there, why it has been widely used, and what is the reason that we should be learning. Okay. Then Smriti is saying, isn't Excel a type of coding only? Yes, actually, in fact, I don't know whether Smriti you attended my previous session. Actually, when I was trying to answer the question like his programming is for everybody, I told him that most of the people are already using Excel sheet, and there actually you make drop and down and you make accounting and you're actually making some kind of a calculations and all. So that is actually an essential first step towards your coding. Excel, in fact, is a coding platform, and depending on what is your role, for example, if you're a manager, then you have been using a lot of functional like what if kind of a scenario, and if you are making a budget, and then you are doing that, and if you are an HR manager, Excel sheet is actually used for what we call actually for the management decision. So your observation that is Excel is not type of a coding is very good. Yes, it is coding, but in a different sense. But if you are familiar with Excel sheet, coding becomes straightforward and easy for you. Okay. What are the common built-in data types in Python? Naina, probably I will answer this question sometime later, but then there is some information on this in the current session also. But then essential data types actually deal with numbers, strings, and others. Okay. Okay. So next question is, Kiran, how important logic part in coding? See, actually logic is the heart of coding, because see, in our regular information communication, we talk to another person, and the other person is also fairly intelligent enough to interpret what you say. Whereas computers are dumb things. That means they don't understand, they don't live. So if you want to make things very clear to them, then logic is the only way to tell. For example, how do you tell ATM machine to deliver, dispense the money that the customer is asking for? You have to be very precise in its instruction. So how do you say? You ask him to, if a customer comes, ask him to enter, insert his PAN, his ATM card. So that's the clear instruction, right? Then ask him to enter his PIN number and ask him to how much money does he want. Then you dispense it. Now this is actually a logic. That logic is anything which tells the work very clearly. So logic is heart of coding. Okay, and the better the logic and better the program that you use. Okay. Okay, you will always need to code. You may not have to need code 100%, but actually you can code about 20%, because rest actually is given by languages like Python. And in fact, stay back on this. Actually, I will explain. The Python has something like libraries, modules, frameworks. Okay, these are the things which give 90% of the coding to you. And just hold on, I will show you that one. Jaidev, it's not actually, no code is actually for the people who actually interact with the GUI. That means the Windows kind of a interface. That means they can do, for example, even actually, for example, as somebody has said in Excel sheet. So, for example, the moment you say you want to add two numbers, actually you get the symbol of plus and all. Okay, so that is a kind of a no code platform. That means you don't ask them to write how to add two numbers. You just say add, then it will show you the two parameters like what to be added to what. Okay. Yeah, Purav, actually, I know how the assembly language works. Okay, I will just come to you, and actually, I will try to answer you before I go to that. Okay. See, again, the whole idea is I should convey my intention to computers, and computers are essentially microprocessor-based machines. Okay. Now, in microprocessor-based machines, actually, there at the bottom level we have instructions like add, add, multiply, divide, and all. Okay, all this, and there's a logical thing like yes or no kind of a thing. Now, so and each machine speaks in its own language. That means there's a particular way actually you can activate these circuits, and that is called machine language. But see, machine language consists of all ones and zeros or hexadecimal and other things. Now, what actually happens is these hexadecimal things are something which people are not comfortable with, because if I see a hexadecimal instruction, then actually it becomes boring for me and it's very difficult to remember also. So in order to help people to overcome this problem, they have developed a programming language called assembly level language. So what actually happens, Purav, in assembly level language is simple. So instead of writing an instruction for add, I will just use the word called add A and B. So this is written in assembly level language, because why I call it assembly language, this is again machine will not understand. It will actually decode into small instructions and put them together to execute this. So the job of putting together different things is called assembly. And the reason actually I have used add, because add is actually used as a mnemonic. That means when I say add, I know what is add as a human being, and machine also knows that I should convert this into an adding function. Okay, that is exactly. So if you are from the electronics background, assembly level language is used at the machine level for converting a numeric based instruction. For example, subtract A from B. So you write in English because you are a human, and this is getting translated into that. So that is called assembly level language. So I will go back to now actually into this one and explain everything. Okay. So the first question that I'm asking is why, what is Python used for? Okay, that's an extensive question because now it is most popular. And you know, until 1980s, until 2010, C was the most popular language because that was used both for developing applications on machines and also to develop operating systems. Okay. So now this is the range of applications and domains. We can use Python for backend development applications, data science, data analytics, data visualization, and each one of them actually I will explain later. Okay. So now these are the fundamental things that you should know. Python is a general purpose programming language. When we say general purpose, remember this, they can be used for any different task. For example, computer is a general purpose machine. That means you can use it for banking application. You can put it in your car for navigation. Also, you can put it on a database for Indian Railways. Also, you can put it for managing data card, our Aadhaar card. So that way, that is computer as a machine is a general purpose. Now, Python as a language is general purpose. What it means is, if you are developing an application for an educational context, Python can be used. If you are developing a military application for managing drones, then Python can be used. If you are developing an application for a doctor to understand the X-ray images, Python can be used. Okay. And Python can handle broad range of tasks. What it means actually, it can manage data analysis tasks, it can manage visualization tasks, it can manage data processing tasks and everything. Okay. And second quality, which is very important with Python, is actually it's an object-oriented programming language. What is actually object-oriented programming means? Now, actually, they have an idea of class. Okay. Now, once the class is defined, then you can actually add any number of cars, instances. Like, for example, now once I know car, now I am using Audi, Nissan, and Volvo. For example, I can add Hyundai also. I can also add Nano. I can add also Maruti Indica. Okay. Now, the object-oriented programming makes it very simple. The moment I define a class, I can define unlimited number of objects. This is not possible in traditional programming languages because every time I add a new thing, I have to define it as an additional thing. So by taking advantage of this, what happens is actually I can define a class and add functions to this, and actually I can apply to this. For example, movement. I can say if I movement, and if I create RD, Nissan and all, I can borrow that moment from this class to all one of them. And the moment I define a class, which a basic feature, like any car will have four wheels, maybe it will have four doors, and it will have a front row and back row, then it will have a dicky and all. So all that is actually defined here, and actually it is borrowed to this kind of a thing. So if I get a new car, for example, a driverless car, then I can actually derive all these properties. And this is an excellent property of object-oriented programming, which Python has inherited and which is intrinsically that. So probably you know that before Python came, we are using C++, which was an object-oriented programming, Java, object-oriented programming. So you remember, it takes the advantage of the best technology which is available. And now the question she was asking, who was asking this? Okay, Naina, you are asking what are the common built-in data types in Python? Here is the answer. Okay, see in Python what it does actually, it has come out with an idea called package and module. So that means you do not have to worry about declaring or using many things. All that you have to worry about your application side. Okay, portable, well-organized code forms available from the Python. Instead of having code everything from search and users, you can take pre-written Python code. What it means like this. See, suppose you are using a financial applications, and in the financial application, if you are using a banking application, and in that actually if you are using a deposit application, then the principal, the rate of interest, duration of deposit, all they are built into that application, into that package, and you directly get that. So you don't have to define interest, you don't have to define principal, you don't have to define duration of deposit. All are built into that. So the need for you to define any data type is already taken care by the package that you choose. So if you are taking a financial package, all those things will come to you. Similarly, if you are taking a physics package or actually scientific package, then things like mass, weight, velocity, density, they will all come together. Okay. So this is an important thing. Okay. So have I answered your question? Who is this? Okay. Naina. So yeah, there are basic things like numbers, decimals, names, strings and all, but you don't have to worry about that. Okay. So packages and the modules are the two ready to run software available. And then you also have what we call actually libraries and frameworks. See, we go to libraries. The reason why? The reason is that there is a reference which is available which will support our thinking. Similarly, in computer programming, libraries are those things which will support your activity. Assume that you are trying to write a program which has a trigonometric function like tan theta and or sine theta. Then they will not ask you to write a program to find sine value of an angle. They have a library built for you. So the advantage is like this. See, now Python is there. Then the framework. So suppose like Google company is using it for TensorFlow, then actually they can derive almost everything and actually add into that. Similarly, Pygame. That means if you are trying to use Python for building up games, then that package will be available for you and along with the framework. So I can see some question. Yes. Oh, okay. Yes, Shekhar, I will start from the top to bottom. That means from scratch down. That means starting from declaring variables to running programs I will be teaching. Yes. Okay. Yes, okay. Vipul, yes, it is extensively used in AI. I will coming back to that in short time because AI is also called in different names like data science, data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. I am coming there. Okay, Jaidev, I will come to that also. There is one application that I have listed down there, which will come to you. Okay, I'll come there. Okay. So what are the applications in Python? Look at this. Now on the right side, you look at, it has been made so simple that anybody can understand provided he knows little English. For example, now I say import YouTube. So people know what is YouTube and import. And by general understanding also, they know that importing is getting something from another country. Similarly, now here the import means, so I'm trying to import some qualities or some features from YouTube. Okay, and link. So I know I'm linking this to a particular web address. Okay, format, right, thumbnail and all. So, Python has been designed in such a fashion that anybody can actually read that application and try to guess and understand about 90% of the meaning. Okay. So what are the different applications for which you can use Python? Backend development. Backend is actually somebody, in fact, in computers, there is something called front end, which a customer is facing. Okay, there is a middleware and there is a backend. Backend actually relates everything to your database, your servers, and your applications. Okay. Then backend web development. Backend would mean in a traditional world, it's a database and servers, and in the web, it would mean the backend of your website. Okay. Data science, where actually is a larger name for our artificial intelligence, where you use statistical method, apply onto a big data, a heap of data, and try to get that machine learning. Okay. And Mr. Who was asking like, okay. So we could look at on the screen actually, the part of data science actually is this machine learning. Okay. Okay. But again, there are more to this on this. So data analytics is one where actually you are using Python went very extensively. Data visualization is the process of converting a linear, a textual data into pictures. For example, now this is called actually a pie graph. So if you understand some feature like 23%, 27%, and 50%, some people may not understand. Now this is actually a graph. It's called a pie graph, which is visible to anybody, and even if he's not a literate person, actually you can understand. Okay, yellow is big, hence it is 50%. Okay, that kind of a thing. Machine learning and artificial intelligence. Look at here. Yes, yes. Okay. Machine learning is a subset of data science very much, because you can have data science without having machine learning, because some people who are capable of making statistical analysis and manipulation can try to understand those things. For example, people who make budgets and the thing. But then machine learning is little above that, and it is certainly a subset. Okay, and why Python is used? Okay, Namita, you are asking why Python is used, and these are the features. Okay. Okay, this is the reason why they are used. And okay, where is this, Namita? Okay, so Namita, you are asking why Python is in AI, and here is the answer. Look at this screen. Okay, data scientists use Python to build complex machines because while offering multiple learning and data processing libraries. Okay, so that's the, because I told you library will help a developer to simplify his job. So Python has this built-in feature. It has machine learning and data processing libraries. KDROS builds neural networks and advanced data models. That means if your application is building a neural networks, then Python already has a built-in library for that. Pandas can manipulate, analyze large volumes of data using machine learning. NumPy is actually lets you to work with special multi-value variables called arrays. Okay. So have I answered your question, Namita? Why Python is used for this one? It is actually, look here. Okay. Okay. So now another question: can you build a backend frameworks with Python? Yes, yes. Actually, Smriti, here, come here. Okay. Now look at here. Backend is an activity that they do here. Okay. Now you Python programs can package modules into libraries and frameworks. At the simplest level, this is what. And framework can be scaffolding, actually holding. Frameworks are popular in web and web development tasks because they eliminate repetitive work, letting developers to get creative. Okay. So where is this? Who is asking this question? Smriti, look at this slide. Okay. Last line. It is in web development and app development, and your question like where is this? Okay, where is this Smriti's question? Can you develop backend from? Yes, the answer is yes. Okay. Yeah. So I have answered Vinod. Sir, aren't there jobs specifically for data? Yes, there are. Okay. There are data engineering jobs are there. I will let you know. Okay, Namita, yeah. Sir, how do you think that I would have to practice Python be considered a good core? Actually, okay. Actually, Srinathan. Okay, I'll be showing you some resources at the end of this presentation. But see, coding like swimming or driving or singing is a matter of practice. There is no complication in what you do on day-to-day basis. But what gives you value is the repetitive thing. For example, driving, you may be good in driving a straight lines, but then sometimes when you go to a guard section, then your driving skills are not only tested, they are improved. So in coding also, you choose a particular. So if you want to be a good driver, what you do, some race, this, you drive in a very crowded cities, on the streets, then you learn your skilling. Some days actually you go on a highway and test your speed limits. Then sometimes actually you go to like a hilly areas or a guard section, you try that. Similarly in Python, what you should be doing, Srinathan, so start with the simple examples, then you choose an example. For example, is this example gives me a kind of a skill in managing the arrays, okay, arrays or some data structures. Then another day you choose a task which actually helps you to manage databases. So by developing this kind of an inclination and practice, you become a good coder. Okay, then we know it's how much you can learn and keep learning. Yeah, so I will tell you that. See, learning like Learning coding is like a work in progress. All the time you are doing. All that you have to do is whether you are interested and you have patience. Anything between 3 months to 6 months will prove that you'll be a good coder. Okay. Okay. So, okay, then I will move this. Okay. I have come here. Okay. And scientific computing, for example, assume that after you complete your science like BSc, MSc, and become a PhD and all, then Python can also be used for scientific computing. For example, assume that you are working in cosmology, or maybe you are working in field psychology and all. So there actually you can use computer science, numerical mathematics, and modeling, and that intersection is called scientific computing. And now NumPy actually is called numerical Python is a fundamental language for scientific computation. Now there is idea of automation. Automation is actually a part of artificial intelligence, again, which is machine learning's bigger brother. So all artificial intelligence started with an engine that let us substitute machine for human effort. That means artificial intelligence is all about building machines which can replace humans in their work. Okay. Now automation is one task. That means if there is a task that you can identify, you can automate it. For example, look like email sending. So suppose you have a common message for 100 people, then actually you can, and if you want to avoid this making CC and you want to send a fresh email to everybody, then actually you can write a small code using Python, and you can make that automated. So in fact, there is a different vertical to take care of this automation. It's called RPA, that is robotic automation process. Yeah, somebody was asking finance. Who was that? Who was that? Okay, Jaidev, you are still there. Okay, so look at this. See, finance actually it has two things. One is managing your budget and all, and finance also means like planning for future. For example, if you are a finance person in companies like Infosys, then there's a lot of things that you have to do. For example, look at interpolation. That means you have to look at the data in terms of productivity, in terms of income that is generating, or in terms of cost it is making. Okay. Now, all these activities like root finding, linear algebra, quadratic equation, they are all used in financial modeling in Python. Secondly, if you are invested in the stock market and all, there is something called derivative trading, there is something called future trading and all. So they are all more scientific, sorry, they are actually statistical and mathematical models, and Python is extensively used in that. So have I answered your question? Yes, yes. Okay. Srinathan, actually, one thing I have certainly want to tell you is actually they all use mathematics, but you don't have to know the mathematics. All that you have to do is, if this is the mathematical requirement, which package I should be using. Okay, I'll tell you simple. For example, I told you if you're writing a C program and if you want to, if you have to make a calculation of like trigonometric function like sine theta, cos theta and all, it doesn't mean that you should know the mathematics behind calculating that. There is a library available which will help you to do that. Okay, that's one thing. Secondly, today what has actually happened is, see, for example, like in Excel sheet and all, you don't find average. You just choose the cells so that you will get an average. Similarly, you don't choose the maximum, the highest number in a row. You just choose that row and ask the maximum function to do that. Something similar happens, Srinath, okay, in mathematics. So if you have some, for example, look at here. Suppose, for example, you have an integration. Integration is from calculus, where actually you calculate a value between two limits. For example, integration of f of x. Okay. Now, what you have to do is you have to only supply your variables, and if you call for integration function or integration library, you will do that. Similarly, quadratic and cubic roots. You don't have to find. You just give the equation x to the power of 3 equal to 1, and now you give this value, and quadratic equation which is given by the library will calculate. So you don't have to do. One second, I'll come to you. Okay, Jaidev, I think Srinath, did you get the answer? Okay, so it involves mathematics. That doesn't mean that you should be knowing mathematics. It is something like this. When you are driving a car, you know there is an engine which uses thermodynamics. Okay, thermodynamics is one of the fairly tough science. That means not all people will understand like car or cycle and all. But as a driver, Okay, as a driver, you don't have to know thermodynamics. All that you have to know is how to drive. Okay, see now the maths is very intimidating before programming came, but now you are always protected. In fact, insulated from this, where actually all you have to tell us what you want to do. For example, you want me to find the quadratic equation or a cubic equation. You just give me the numbers. I will arrange a function for you, and it will do it for you. Okay. Smriti, yeah. See, but as a driver, you don't have to know it, right, Smriti? Similarly, you don't have to know the thermodynamics to become a railway engine driver. Okay, that's what I'm telling you. Okay, so that's the idea. You know that there is a thermodynamics working, but how does it work? You don't have to know, and that's exactly programming is all about. Okay, for example, when you're using GPS, maps, Google Maps, you don't have to know geography, right? They will figure it out and tell you. All your job is to find out, tell the source destination and end destination. It will give you the path. You don't have to understand the geography behind it. It's not necessary. Okay. Okay. See, the idea that I was having for today's presentation is simple. Okay. So programming languages can do wonders for you. That means they can do many things. All that you have to do is to decide what is should be done, and they will take care. For example, you have a job where actually you have to find the quadratic, you have to solve a quadratic equation and find the roots of a quadratic equation. You don't have to know the mathematics. You don't have to solve that quadratic equation. You can just go to a programming language like Python, use the library, and just pass on the parameters. Then it will find out that numbers for you. Okay, that's how it is. Similarly, you want to find the time taken by a vehicle which has to cover a particular distance. Then all that you have to enter speed and the distance. You will get the time. Okay, time taken for that. So with this background, so my urge is that you can consider different programming language, not necessarily Python, but Python is being what it is. That means it's very popular. It gives you certain advantage. That means since more and more people are talking in Python, it is easy to find a person who is developing in Python if you encounter a problem. There are online forums and all which is available for that one. Okay. Okay. It's versatile, very much, very versatile. And actually, you know what happens? If you, but actually, you can see it here. Okay, I'll show you here. Is this, so, for example, see, look here. Now, suppose you are into scientific computing. So now there is MATLAB. MATLAB is exclusively a scientific calculation name. What actually the Python does is actually it will give you all the functionality of MATLAB within Python. So that means you have to say like include the MATLAB library and you are getting all the results which is possible there. Okay. Similarly, if you are talking about fundamental scientific language, then you can do that. Okay. And provides, see, for example, sci-fi, that means scientific Python gives you scientific programming algorithms like 3D geometry or quantum mechanics and all. So please understand this, like dictionary gives you the word and meaning whenever you find it hard to understand a word. These libraries will give you all the features and resources which are needed for your application. Okay. Um, for example, now if you want to, okay, now actually you want to develop a game using Pygame. I mean, okay, then now there is a package library which will help you do this. Okay. Uh, Ketan is asking how much scope would you say Python has in healthcare? I will give you. Okay, 1 second, give me. I will give you because I have to go to that slide. Okay, so Ketan, look at here. Ketan, look at this. This is an article which is Python in healthcare, AI applications in hospitals, which is published very recently in the month of March this year. This is very, I mean, very recent one. Okay, look at that. Okay. Okay, so thank you for actually. So you can. So the message I'm telling you is very simple. As a faculty in engineering college, whatever I tell my students is this: see, programming is a big world, and you can find a position in that. It's like a big sky, and you can become a star within that, or even a planet within that, or a solar system within that. Okay. So, but don't dismiss this because at your, your apprehensions about your mathematics knowledge and all. Maybe somebody has not made you to understand mathematics well in your high schools and all. But then, okay, then actually, with little effort and little understanding, you can do wonders in mathematics. What is this Goddard engine? Have you spelled it wrongly, or that is what it is? Yes, yes. Yeah. Yeah, see, Ketan, yes. Ketan, look at here. Here is a question answer session on how to using Python on Godot. Uh, Kiran, did you get this? I mean, did you see this? I mean, are you seeing this? It says using Python on Godot. Hopefully you are seeing this. Yes. So, is there any question that I did not answer? Kiran has not answered me. Okay, because he was the man who asked that question. Okay. Kiran, also look at this slide. Interestingly, a popular game engine called Godot bases its native scripting language JavaScript off Python. So, Kiran, I think I have answered to your question and also a proof to that one. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. Where is Kiran? Has he disappeared? Anyway, you can take a screenshot of this page and give it to him. Okay. So, where can beginners learn Python? Okay. Somebody was asking those questions. Where is he? Uh, uh, okay. Okay, then data visualization job somebody was asking. Okay. Um, Srinath, anything between 3 months to 6 months? Purav, okay. Are you still there? Look at this. Hopefully Purav has seen this. Uh, yes, sir. Please see that. So any question I have left? Kiran has not answered. I think he has disappeared.